Okay, so today we have Gary Numan and We Are Glass. So, I have not reacted to Gary Numan in over a year, and I feel like that's probably a criminal offense. So I should get on this today. The song is almost 5 minutes long. We Are Glass. I mean, it's another intriguing title by Gary. I apologize if you hear any construction at any point, but there's construction going on. What can you do? Anyway, let's get into this. Talk about it after. Here we go. I think I'm ready. Well, Gary Numan, We Are Glass. Now I know the I know the point. My goodness, I can't find the word. I'm so gobsmacked here. I know the point of a reaction is to, you know, react, I guess, to the song or make faces, whatever the hell it is. But I feel like at points I was just like, what the hell? You know, I was just mesmerized by Gary Numan. I mean, I love Gary Numan. I don't know. I love his music. I love his sound. I just love how hypnotizing he is from his look. The kind of creepy thumbnail to this video, which already had me, I was just like, oh goodness gracious. The way in this video too that he just uses that guitar, like I was reading some quotes. I mean, I don't know where to go. So I'm sorry if this is all jumbled together now. But I was reading some quotes where he said, of course, on his first album there, I've said it was his first album before somebody yelled at me. So anyway, on his previous album, The Pleasure Principle, I do believe, he didn't use any guitars, I don't believe. And then he said that was a mistake. You know, even though the album was a success, he said he wanted to bring guitars back for this next project. So here we were. And I just love how he has a guitar and he plays it well. You know, it's very kind of like unpredictable. And maybe that's only because I feel like everything about him is unpredictable and he's just so kind of whimsical and all that crap. Anyway, but I just love in the video how he's using that guitar, how he's almost hiding behind it, or it's almost being used as a weapon at points, and he's just, you know, staring at you. And I mean, my goodness gracious, it just, I was just so mesmerized. And so like I said, that's why I kind of chuckled at points, because I was just, you know, staring. And and I just like, because I was just lost in Gary Numan. I don't even know what to say, his eyes or anything. I was just lost in the whole video. The clapping, you know, all these hands all around, there's lights flashing. You know, you have Gary with, you know, that striking look, and, you know, his, I would say, some kind of eyeliner he had on and all this stuff. And, you know, his robotic kind of style of voice as well. And everything's just so slow, and everything's just so what's the word I'm looking for? Everything's just so fast. Everything's just so quick. Everything's so abrupt. That's the word I was looking for. My goodness, I was trying to think of disrupt. That's not it. That wasn't it. It was abrupt. And you know, just from his lines and how I feel like a lot of his songs, at least, or maybe every song I've listened to, I feel like lines are so quick, and they're just, you know, it's a very short lyric wise thing. And yeah, he's just, you know, he delivers these lines so quickly, and again, there's not many of them, and he's out. And you know, even though the song is 5 minutes long, but he lets it breathe at different points. Anyway, I was just taken aback, like usual, from Gary Numan here. And I gotta say, you know, obviously there's the guitars, but also he does bring in the synths. I mean, that was his whole thing. And I do believe he had a new kind of array of synths on this track here, a bit more synths. And I mean, why not? I mean, you had great success with that on your previous record. So it seems like, you know, he upped that a little bit more with the song here. And just how, you know, the aura, I guess, that creates, or just the ambiance that whole sound creates of the synths there, you know, some elements of like new wave and punk and many different genres, I guess you could say there too. But yeah, just how that creates such a kind of dark kind of feel. But even though it's still not as dark as some of his other songs, I would say it's kind of upbeat actually at points. And I feel like as well there are different instruments here. I was looking on the personnel, and I might as well just talk about them anyway. But of course, Gary Numan was on vocals, and he was on all the synths there. I mean, you got a Minimoog, Polymoog. I don't even know if I'm saying these right. You get an ARP Pro soloist, a Roland Jupiter 4, and then he was also on guitar. So again, he just, all these instruments that he was on, and just making it sound so futuristic. And I've said this every time I've listened to Gary, but even today, you know, how many years later, like 45 years later after this was released, it still sounds futuristic. It still sounds ahead of its time in a way. And anyway, I just love that about Gary Numan, and how integral, I guess, he was to the whole, you know, synth movement, if you want to call it that. But anyway, and I feel like today he's an underrated artist. And anyway, just one of the most underrated artists of all time. Anyway, people just, I feel like, don't give him enough appreciation. And that maybe, I feel like before I got into this channel, Cars was pretty much the only song I heard by him. And then every other song I've heard by him has just been great as well. And anyway, I just love his style. And anyway, could go on. But then we go out to the Paul Gardner, who was on bass, Cedric, I apologize, Sharpley, who's on drums here. And again, the song had that driving drum beat as well, I would say, aside from the unpredictable and kind of gritty guitar work there, and then of course the synths and how that just overtakes everything. But I did love the driving drum beat there too. Bass guitar was great too. I mean, everything was just so in your face a little bit. And but at the same point, Gary Numan's vocals was just over top of everything, and I was listening to his robotic style and just hanging on to his every word because that's just what he does to me. And Chris Payne on viola and piano here as well. I don't believe he had, I don't know if piano or not, but I don't believe he had a viola on his previous record either. But so that was a nice little touch there too, a little bit of string action, what the hell. And then Russell Bell on guitar as well, and also ARP pro soloist too. Why not? And then Dennis Higgins was also on a pro soloist, piano, Yamaha CP30, and John Webb was on percussion. And imagine John Webb. I know that Gary Numan's real last name is Webb, so maybe John Webb, perhaps related, a brother, something like that. Either way, there you go. And that's all the instruments that are listed here on Wikipedia for We Are Glass. And my goodness, again, you can just tell that there's so many different instruments on it too, because it's just a sound. Is that one a soundscape? Sound wave, whatever. It's just so much sounds coming at you, but it sounds so good at the same point. It's like everything has their place. And Gary Numan, it seems like he would be kind of meticulous, and he would want things to be perfect as well. And yeah, it just kind of overtakes you. And then here comes Gary's distinct vocals over top of it. I mean, I'm in heaven. It's orgasmic. So anyway, I guess I said everything there, and I don't want this video to be too long. How long are we in? My God. Anyway, we are young. We can break. There we go. There right off the get-go. Watch us fall. We can take some train down to the sea. We are glass. We are glass. Again, I feel like the point of Gary's songs, I don't feel like he always wants you to just, zero in on the lyrics, and maybe he does at points, but at the same point, I like to know some different, I guess, meanings of tracks or whatever. But it seems like here, again, I don't know if this makes sense or not, but he does have a quote about the track, and I just got to read this, because to me, I was just like, what's the song really about? Obviously, I feel like we're talking about human complexity. I mean, it seems like we're talking about human fragility, how fragile we can be. We are glass. I mean, hello. But he did say one point here, I'm seeing here on faroutmagazine.co.uk, my goodness gracious, he said, somebody once told me, a man from Omni, I guess, where this man was from, said he thought that I'd been put here by something like aliens or something to carry out a cause. And I feel like maybe I've made that comparison before, and how Gary kind of sounds like an alien, or alien-like, and it's just that way of saying that because you don't know how else to explain his sound or his style or his face or his look. And I mean, anyway, it just seems like he's so different. He's just so extraordinary, and I love it. Anyway, so I agree with this guy. It looked like he'd been put here by aliens to carry out a cause. And I believe Gary had a song about aliens. Was it Me, or was it Metal? I can't remember. Either way, his songs are very different, and his lyrics have always been very different. Anyway, he said to carry out a cause. I'll read the next part of this quote, which I thought was very flattering, but a little bit silly. When you think, when Gary thinks it's silly, you're being very silly. We are glass. I wrote because of that, like all pop stars are here for different reasons. Again, very kind of vague in its own way there. All pop stars are here for very different reasons. But, I mean, again, it's up to interpretation to the listener anyway, and why a person is here. And I guess Gary, again, thought it was kind of silly. But at the same point, I feel like we're talking about glass. Everyone's still made it to glass, no matter how famous you are, and, no matter how big you get. We are all still glass, and we can break, and we are so young. And again, I feel like maybe Gary's talking a bit about himself here, because I would say, I think he was born in 58. This is 1980 when this was coming out, so he's like 21, 22 when it was coming out. Again, very young, and he can break, and even though he's got that success, my goodness gracious, it's not like he's invincible. Anyway, we could take some train down to the sea. We are glass, we are glass. Again, I don't know if all these lines really mean a bunch, but some of these lines are pretty poignant. We are real, you can touch. Again, it's just the way he delivers. Like, he never writes a big, long song, whatever. It's just quick lines. We are real, you can touch. It's like, what does that really mean? It's just like, it doesn't really want to expand on it, and I'm not going to ask him to. Anyway, we are real, you can touch. I guess you can still touch celebrities. It's not like, again, we're some kind of made-up thing or whatever. Just for now, and I say, hey, you, which way is down? We are glass, we are glass. Again, some of these things like, hey, you, which way is down? I don't really know what that means. I don't want to go too deep into that, but, yeah, hey, you, which way is down? Again, asking these questions, asking different things and whatever. We are strong, we're unknown, we have time, and to you, I'm just one of those boys. We are glass, we are glass. Again, I think about fame, I think about what maybe fans or critics or whatever make out these people to be, or people like Gary Numan to be, like that person did when he said he seems like an alien coming here for a cause. We are cold, we're not supposed to cry. Now, again, when I think about celebrities, if we're going that way, because that's what kind of seems like maybe to me a bit, again, we're not invincible, we're not that different, we're still human beings, we're still like the rest of you guys, even though maybe our bank accounts are bigger, or whatever the hell, at least at this time in 1980 for Gary. We're not supposed to cry. Boys Don't Cry as well, by The Cure comes to mind. Anyway, but it's all just a thought. So here I am, We Are Glass, We Are Glass. You know, We Are Glass, We Are Glass. We're supposed to just be, I guess, emotionless or whatever in a way, maybe to different people. You know, I'm just one of those boys to you. I'm not supposed to cry, whatever the hell, because I am somebody you know of or whatever because of my music. They run fast impressions of the floors inviting, stay with me, stay with me. They run past with telephones, they scream, well, would you turn this all down, turn this all down? Again, if I'm going the fame way, would you turn this fame down for what happens for you? I don't know. They run fast impressions, the first impressions they get of you. You know, some people hate you, some people like you, you know, I don't know, all this stuff comes to mind. Again, I'm just going based on really nothing because, again, these lyrics are kind of out there. But anyway, you are replaced, you are you. Again, it's it's just so different. I love it. And now dreams are real and dreams are all we need. We are glass, we are glass. I mean, I don't even know what to say. They run fast impressions of the floors inviting. Stay with me, stay with me. They run past with telephones. They scream, well, would you turn all this down? Turn this all down. Turn all this down. So, again, at the end of the day, like I read the quote from Gary, just talking about pop stars, talking about, We're Glass. We're supposed to be, I guess, just made out of metal maybe because we get hit with criticism, we get hit with whatever the hell. But still, we are like you. We are glass. You know, we are still fragile, even though, again, we may be different in some way. I may be singing to a crowd or whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm still a person and I still have feelings and I'm still emotional about stuff and I can still cry and whatever, that comes to my mind anyway. But like I said, I feel like the whole point of the song is the music. The whole point of the song is to be, to bop your head around like I was doing, is to be lost in it, is to get lost in Gary when you watch the video. I don't know if he really wants you to look at the lyrics and, pick everything apart. So, yeah, but I do like to know some of the meaning, and I guess I do at this point. So anyway, sorry if, I dropped the ball on anything on the lyrics, but there you go there. It's Gary Numan. I mean, it's always up to kind of some interpretation, I feel like, and it's always just so kind of out there, which I like a lot. He's one of the most distinctive people I've ever come across. I want to say one of the most unique, but I hate using the word unique. But he is, I guess, one of the most unique people I've ever come across. And even today, he still looks pretty good for 67, he must be, or something, I guess. But yeah, crazy. Anyway, so I guess that's all I got to say. I love coming back to Gary Numan. This is a treat. I loved it so much. So thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting. Sorry it took me over a year. Again, criminal offense for that. But yeah, thanks for everything. And I'll talk to you guys again soon.